All right, everybody, welcome. This is Mariah, and this is the Human Design Chart Review for August. I am so excited to be sharing this with you. And while people are still jumping on the call, I am just going to go ahead and get started. I have some really great questions for you today. One thing that I want to do today is actually start a little differently. If you've done these calls before with me, you'll know that I'll first go over what the chart entails. We'll do a little bit of that. What happens very often during these calls is that we get going, we're talking about people's questions and people's charts, and then we run out of time to actually talk about what the energy is going to be about this upcoming time. So we have a lot going on. You may know that human design, just like astrology, looks at the way that the planets are lined up. And in human design, we look at, if you can see on this chart, we see all the hexagrams are all around the central figure. And the hexagrams are being activated by particular planets at that moment. In this case, this is my chart, so this is about the moment of my birth. You'll see that these are the kind of activations that I had at my moment of birth. The interesting thing is that planets, of course, keep moving. And so your chart, you'll have your birth chart, but your chart is never, ever, ever going to happen again, right? This is your moment in time. You're unique. Planets are never going to line up as they were at that moment. So as these planets keep moving, we are still being affected by those planets. So upcoming energetics, there's a lot going on in terms of the planets. And you may have kind of noticed that in the energy that has been going on. You may have been feeling a lot of tension, a lot of real pressure, intensity, the desire to move inward and really just kind of dig in and get that old stuff out, because that is the period that we are in. We're all being asked to step up to our highest self. The sun actually today is moving into the seventh gate, which is the gate of leadership. Now, I'm going to invite all of you to check in on Sundays on Instagram, because I actually post the weekly update of where the sun is going into. And the sun really has a huge influence on our experience for that particular time. Usually it's about 5 to 6 days. And this time today, we are actually shifting in the seventh gate. And the seventh gate is this gate of it's called uniformity, but it has to do with different forms of leadership. So we are being asked this week to really take a look at, where in my life am I stepping into this leadership for my life, and leadership for others. Now, the one thing with leadership is that it's something that you can't force, right? Leadership is something that people, if you force it, it becomes a dictatorship, right? So leadership has everything to do with, how is your environment open to you, inviting you to step into leadership? You'll find that sometimes leadership is all about taking charge, getting deep into it, getting your hands dirty. And then sometimes it's about leading behind the scenes, helping guide others. So this is really the theme for this week. And then at the end of this week, on Friday, we are shifting into this 49th gate. This is the gate of mental solutions. This happens to be my birthday, by the way. So this particular gate, mental solutions, is going to invite us to take a look at, I want to say, the stories that we tell ourselves, because we can come up with all kinds of solutions for problems that we see, problems that may not even be there. And these particular solutions sometimes can be very useful and helpful. And sometimes we come up with a solution that really is not going to be helpful. And those are the solutions that you want to try them out first. See if they have real merit in real life. So you may find yourself giving people advice. I'm very good at that. You may find yourself telling yourself your stories. Take a look at those too, okay? At the same time, as the sun is moving into this 7th gate, Earth is moving into the 13th gate. 13th gate, gate of the listener. So as we're stepping into this leadership, also become very in tune to what other people are telling you. Your gift of paying attention to other people really helps them kind of get their story straight. So it's about listening this week. And then at the end of this week, we're shifting in gate 49, which is about revolution. How can you take what you're learning from leadership in your life to really create new changes, changes that may upset, initially, potentially, the way of being in life, or maybe transform your own life. Okay, it's all about revolution, bringing in new changes. Now, if you're looking at the rest that's lined up here, there is a lot of change happening. Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune, Pluto, all are retrograde. I'm going to suggest to you to perhaps take a look at your cards, your human design cards, the Gates to Soul Wisdom card, to be able to look at what each individual planet may mean in looking in that particular gate. So when things go retrograde, it's not necessarily a bad thing. I know that there is a lot of story around that. They really are giving us an opportunity to step into different parts of ourselves, to say, okay, instead of that huge expansion and flow that I'm just naturally experiencing, why are things going, not so smooth? For instance, Jupiter in the 17th gate. 17th gate is about opinions. Well, there's been a lot of different opinions lately, right? So what is this teaching you? What does this have to tell you? Okay, so I am going to move on because I could talk so much more about all this, but let's get into these awesome questions that I've received. And we're starting with Lauren. I'm so glad you're here and joining us. So if you want, you can go ahead and unmute yourself. So you sent me your chart and you had a question about, it's my time. Mm-hmm. How do I get out of these roles? Did I hear that correctly? Is there anything you want to add?
My children are older. I have 2 boys. They're 18 and 23. But for whatever reason, well, it's not for whatever reason. Things as they are, it's still a very traditional household. A lot of structure with my husband being from, he's from Turkey, so it's a much more traditional culture. And and I'm sort of like, gee, I'm looking at my watch going, I thought this part of my life would be over. So there's definitely like a clashing going on with my ideas for myself and my life and the sort of paradigm or the structure of the household.
Yeah. Okay. So you also sent me the birth information for your husband, which is correct, because I don't have the official birth time, but I have a general picture. So we'll first take a very brief look at your chart, and then we'll take a look at your charts together. Okay. So here you see this beautiful person, right? And you see that there's 2 components, right? There's the top part, which is kind of how you think compared to how you speak, right? This is how you come out, and this is often how we tend to lead our lives, right? If we have this mind experience colored in, we tend to really override what our body wisdom tells us. And the thing is that you have so much wisdom there. So you have this sacral center, that red square that you see, and the red square This is your motor. It has your internal wisdom. Sorry about that. So this internal wisdom that you have, that gut response, shows you how your energy is available. Now, the energy that you have is available to take care of other people. This particular connection that you have between the 27th gate and the 50th gate, anybody, if you have your chart in front of you and you take a look and you see if you have that filled in, this is the natural nurturer. You walk into a room and everybody is just, oh my gosh, so happy that you're here because you'll take care of it all, right? And on top of that, you have this 21st gate. I'm going to very carefully move my mouse right over here, which is also the gate of control, which is this part of you that says, sure, I can handle this. Please get out of my way, right? Because I wanted to have it just so. So it's the part of you just wanting to step in, take care of each other, but then it has to go in a particular way as well. And then you have this 29th gate right over here, also in that sacral center, that has a tendency to commit to things before you even know what you're actually committing to. Lorraine, can you handle this for me? Sure, I'll take that. I'll take on this project. I'll do the PTA and all that, right? Because that is such a big part of you. The thing is that you have such a beautiful, that sacral center is such a beautiful help to you. When you listen and really tap in, there is that part of you that says, yes, everything lifts up. This is what my energy is available for, what I can truly want to contribute. And then there is this same energy that can also say, no, not now, not available. But it takes a time, it takes real attention, again, because you have a strong mind that's really great at organizing things for other people. But you want to bring your real energy down into where you are being guided by that intuition. Okay? Very, very important for you. Now, I'm curious because you say things are shifting for you. What is it that you want?
Well, ultimately, I would like to change careers because I'm in a career that doesn't really align with my ideals, and so that's big for me because I've been doing the same career for 20 years. So that's a huge shift, and I don't even know how to really begin that process. It seems very overwhelming.
Okay, can I stop you right there?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're a generator. So human design has different types, and your particular type is that of a generator. Generators never have to be worried about bringing in new opportunities. That happens automatically. What you do want to be aware of is, again, that same gut response can help you figure out which of those opportunities are the right ones, because the tendency for a generator is to be so afraid, I don't know what to do. I don't know. And then there can be a sense of boredom. And so you're starting a bunch of different things just to get things moving. And because you're a generator, all these opportunities are going to come from everywhere and they're going to overwhelm you. And you're going to find yourself so incredibly busy. The thing is that not all those opportunities are going to be right for you. But if you have that 29th gate that says yes to all these different things, you're going to be involved and getting your attention stuck in different projects. Go back to your gut response, listen to that intuition that your spleen brings in, because those opportunities are out there. You just need to tap into which one is right for me right now. And that can shift. Okay? That can shift. The moment that you step into that 29th gate, you're going to be stuck. So you want to find out what feels good for me. You're here to live a life of flow. Okay. So let's now take a look at your chart and that of your husband's. So looks very different, right? Your husband is a very different type. The type that your husband is, his energy is that of a projector. While you have more consistent energy, his energy will be going like it expands, like, oh, I have a lot of energy, I do stuff. And then he really needs to shut down for a while, really needs to shut
And you,
down.
yeah, he crashes. So he goes, and then he can't even have a conversation. He's done so
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And that, takes time to get used to be able to live with, right? So what I found very interesting is if you both look at the top four numbers, both of you have the same numbers, just in a slightly different order. Now, what that tells me, you both have the 51, the 57, the 54, and the 53. What that tells me is that there are various ways in which you approach life the same way. Both of you have the same life theme, and that's the life theme of penetration, penetrating deeply into life. Right? So that is a beautiful thing. Now, when you then put those charts together, now we have a lot of other stuff going on. So we don't have time to really get into it, but the one thing that you want to look at when you're looking at a composite chart like this is you're looking at the areas where you overlap and then the areas where you both are not filled in. Because those areas where you're not filled in, it means that that is where your attention is going to want to go to. Now, if you have one area in life or when you're together like this, your relationship is going to focus on that particular area. That's an area of growth for you. The two of you have three areas of growth, which can mean that you're growing in one way and he's growing in another way. Yeah. So one of you may be focusing a lot on the spiritual, the inspirational, really growing through that. And the other person may be focusing on what is it that I want in my life? Or how am I feeling in my life? Right. So you may find that that does not necessarily overlap. Where you can both connect is by connecting to your intuition, connecting to the body, like having meals together, things like that. Okay, those are places of connection. And there is so much more in the chart, but I hope that this little tiny bit was helpful. Yeah.
Yes, it is. Thank you so much.
All right, you're welcome. Thanks for being here. Yeah, happy birthday, almost.
Happy birthday to you, my Leo sister.
Yes, here we go. Very, very close. We started our birthday month, right?
Yes.
Okay. So did you want to share anything about your question?
I think that's it in a nutshell. I have these exciting projects or potential projects and just feel like my health is just in my face and has been for a really long time.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So how about I did two things. One is here's your chart, and then I also looked at your Chiron return, right? Because that's happening for you. So I love this chart. It's very much like my chart, but kind of opposite. So we're a little flipped. So you have a lot of centers filled in, meaning that there is a lot that you can generally connect with and that you have energy into. The thing that really stands out to me is that you are here to really have a very different life from most people. You are here to feel outside of society, which can be very uncomfortable. And yet, when you are what you're doing, when you are allowing yourself, you are moving forward, really getting this opportunity to be a role model for other people in what that is like to really walk your own path and love it. Okay, does that make sense?
Makes total sense.
Yeah. So you have this connection. I'm careful moving my mouse so I don't move slides. So you have this huge connection all over here. Like you are a very fast thinker, very fast processor. However, again, this is so individual. This is so individual. This is so individual. What that can bring is this sense of like, I already see the future. I already see what's possible. I am so very present to what is right now and to the potential transformation that other people can feel left behind, can feel like, what is she talking about, right? Because you're already talking about what you see next, and that individual sense can bring with it this period of kind of bouncing against, pushing against your how do I want to say this? Pushing against the transformation. So the transformation that you are feeling, it's like the stuff is moving, it feels uncomfortable, it feels like things have slowed down in you. And you also know that when you are just allowing the energy to move, things will all of a sudden shift. And all of a sudden there will be a big transformation. And you will have made a huge jump in your whole way of being. Now, what I found very interesting, again, when looking at your health, your Pluto is in the 46th gate. The 46th gate is over here. This is the part of this channel that really wants to delve into the experience and kind of lose yourself in the whole flow of things. Yet the 46th gate is this gate of serendipity. It means being in the right place at the right time with the right attitude. Pluto is transformation, right? It's full on rebirth. So to me, it sounds like the health issues that you are experiencing is really an opportunity to check in with yourself. How can I keep that highest vibration, the highest attitude, so I can rebirth myself, so that when the opportunities are coming my way, I am available. So this really it's all about taking care of yourself. Does that make sense?
Yeah, everything you said makes total sense except for the fast processor thing. I'm totally slow thinker, slow reader, slow processor, but yeah, but everything else, you're just speaking my language totally.
Good. Yeah. Well, I would say that you process on a full body process.
Okay.
And it may be that I want to move my mouse there so it may be that because this is unconscious, you may not necessarily be aware of what it is you truly think and what is coming out, except for when you're in conversation with others, and all of a sudden it's like, wow, you surprise yourself. Does that make sense in that case?
Yeah, totally.
Okay, let me move then to your Chiron return. Okay, see here, the energy is moving. I'm trying to lose the scarf. So here's your Chiron return, and look how busy this is, right? There's so much filled in. Again, so much of that intuition coming out, huge inspiration coming in this coming time. I want to let people know that when your Chiron return happens, it's usually around age 50. And it basically means that there is a new set of clothes you're wearing. Your birth chart is not changing. However, you're having a whole new way of experiencing yourself and a chance to express yourself. So what this tells me, you have this 28-38 gate. It will be healthy for you to do some regular exercise, some regular movement, to be able to keep the energy moving, because that energy you're going to be, probably already are, taking such a huge stance for society, for the individual right for people to have their freedom, to live their freedom. And that's really what's emerging for you. It's called the channel of struggle. And that sounds harsh, but it actually means that you have the ability, the determination, and the power to stand up and take that stand for people. There's also this real connection to the deeper need for other people, for your tribe, the people that the people that are around you. That 19th gate, which is on the other side of this root center right here, taps into those levels of what do my people need, and how can I support them? Just be aware that those needs, they feel maybe stronger than your own needs. And again, what we know of your Pluto is you always want to go back to your gut response, because that's where your wisdom comes from. But that 46 gate, keeping the right attitude and taking care of yourself, so that you can be that role model, because you're now stepping into the role model. So you have your sixth, just one last thing before we move on. You have your sixth line here. And the sixth line person comes into life as what we call a third line, which is a lot of trial and error. You do life and you bump your head, and you do something else, again, bump your head. But through all that, you're observing what works for you. And then around age 30, that's the time that you're kind of stepping back from life and like, okay, gosh, I apparently I don't know exactly how this life thing works. Let me take a step back and start observing. And as you observe, this is what makes you a great coach. You learn so much of what other people are doing that works well for them. And then you, around age 50, are coupling that with your own experience. So now you have the chance to live on that edge of life where things are happening and people are looking at you, looking up to you as the leader. Cynthia, help us. How do you do this? And now, because you have that overview, you can guide. How does that resonate?
Well, it totally resonates with, like I shared with you, this life purpose workbook that I've been working on, and getting to, like, I'm really close to being ready to share that with people and put that out there. And
awesome. Yes. Total yes.
There is
yes.
Also the other, like, kind of further in the future thing that I've been drawn to is, I've been working with this new doctor, and she has this amazing tool that's been helping me. And like, I kind of have this fantasy of like, it's going to help me get well. And then maybe like I could use that to help other people, maybe in conjunction with her or something like that.
Beautiful. Very possible. Very possible. I see a lot of that networking, the making connections of it going out, working with other people is very healthy and helpful for you. It's good to be around other people, and yet recognize that you also really need a lot of time alone. Mm-hmm. That is in your design.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Thank you. That
cool.
Fits so much. Thank you. That was awesome.
Awesome. Excellent. All right. Happy birthday.
You too.
Well, and there is someone else whose birthday is coming up. Ronald, are you here by any chance? Ooh, okay. He's not here, so I'm going to pass on him for this moment. But just so you know, look at this chart. It's very different from, other charts, right? Everybody's chart is different. There's no good or bad about how much you have filled in or colored in or not colored in. Everybody's chart is different. So, Ronald, I will do a human design mini around your question, because it is a very interesting one to take a look at. Starlight, you here?
Yes, I am. Hi.
Hello, good to see you.
Yeah, I'm glad I could make it.
Yeah, me too. So you have a very like, to me, a pretty quick and straightforward question compared to other times. You want to go ahead and just tell a little bit about this?
Yeah, I know. It was interesting. I mean, I guess that I am feeling like this is a little bit deeper in that I think it's a change in myself in terms of, I've been I do need a lot of alone time. And I think I've went through a lot of my life kind of, uh, I guess, feeling the downside of having roommates and and wanting to live alone. And now I'm in a place where I'm kind of questioning that a little bit because I think that through some of the growth that I've been doing, and I think also just my life trajectory, is kind of like just through my own self-acceptance, I think I'm accepting other people and their flaws more and enjoying more a part of who they are as like a social aspect. And I don't know if this is what is the reason why I'm feeling this way, but it kind of feels like that's part of it. But mainly it's just that, like, I have this opportunity. I could live alone. And I've kind of, always moved towards that. But I think there's part of me that's like, well, I think I do really enjoy having people around, supportive people. And I think I haven't always had supportive people in my living situation. And that's part of it. But so I guess I'm just like figuring out, what is this ideal? Is this a real change that's happening? And so any insights on that, I guess?
So I did not look at any transits or your solar return or anything like that. So I can't speak to that. But what I can speak to is your design with other people, right? So as we know, you are this beautiful generator. And as we talked about earlier, as a generator, there is this need to be able to respond to people. There is a need to be able to respond to what other people bring in. It can be very lonely for a generator. This whole pandemic, a lot of people, because generators tend to be the largest size of population, generator, manifesting generator together. We need things, people, other things to respond to. And as you're responding to these other things, that's where your energy gets to go and say, yes, I'm available to this, right? Or it will say, no, absolutely not. You have a very strong intuition, so you're aware of that. But living with other people can be very healthy for you. But I would also say living with them and having the opportunity to have your distance. Now, the reason why I'm saying this is because you also have this one connection here. So that means that you're looking at life coming from this one connection. Yeah. And when other people are coming in and bringing in other things to respond to, which can be pleasant, and sometimes with roommates, not so much, right? You will have a very quick reaction to that. Your energy will immediately say, yes, I'm available, this is great, or I really don't like this. Yeah, it will go really, really quickly. So there is this desire to be around other people, yet be away from them. What is most important for you is to always be in an environment that is beautiful to you, because yourself is undefined. You want to be in a place that's beautiful to you, where you feel like, oh, there's my plants, that, like you've really set it up in your way that just allows yourself to really breathe, because that brings the people in that will be right for you, that then will bring in the opportunities that will be right for you. Now, whether that means you're living with someone constantly. Oh, I am going to mute. If that means being with someone constantly, or it means with having housemates, or where you have your own space and then having regular social life that brings that in. I don't know what the possibilities are for you, but again, when your self-center gets defined, it's all about self-love that gets active in you. So you'll want to make sure that you're in the right environment, that the right people are activating that in a good way for you.
Yeah, that definitely resonates. And I think I have been in situations where that hasn't been activated and my self-love has gone down a lot. And I think that has caused me to be like, well, I just need to be alone. But now I think I'm really experiencing more of what you're talking about in terms of like feeling very activated in a positive way by certain people and wanting that, but also feeling like, yeah, but I also really need my alone time. So yeah, I love that. And I don't know if I'm just going to put this out to the universe that I think that maybe my ideal living space would be in like a communal place where I have my own like cabin or like living area.
Yes.
But then there's also a communal house where we can socialize in a positive way. So I don't know, but
I totally saw that. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. That's what I meant when saying, having your own space and having other people. Yeah, totally. Yeah, totally. Make sure it's beautiful to you.
Yeah. Well,
Awesome.
I'm hopefully going to call it in. That is not an immediate option, but I feel like also, just really briefly, I know we don't have very much time, but partly the reason why my question this time was so succinct is that so much of my other life, I feel like it's like calling in exactly what I want. So I hope that continues. So
nice. Yes. Yeah. Yes. I definitely am my spirit is supporting you.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, Chewa, you're here. And you had a question about your sister, Jiaming, and it sounds like there's been difficulty in your relationship for quite a while. So thank you for sharing your story with me. Is there anything briefly that you want to share about that, or shall I just delve in?
No, you just delve in. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Excellent. So my understanding is, Chewa, you're older than Jiaming, and you felt initially in life with her that she would overwhelm you and overrun you in different ways. And, looking at these designs, right, when we're seeing all these different centers that are colored in, the way that the centers are colored in actually has a lot of meaning in how our energy comes out. So for Chewa, you're a projector, as we know, which means that you don't always have access to energy. You're a powerful being, but you don't always have access to this. And there's a need to be invited, et cetera, et cetera. But what this means is that when you're around other people who have a lot of that energy filled in through, for instance, that sacral center that we can see the little red square on the left-hand side, your sister is a powerful being, right? She's bringing in a lot of energy on various levels. So it's no wonder that you as a projector will have felt like, whoa, this is way too much for me on a regular basis. So what I'm looking at is that here's the root center, the sacral center, the heart center, and the solar plexus. These four are what we call motors. They have a lot of energy, right? They are putting energy out into the world. And just take a look at how strongly developed this root center is. There's a huge amount of energy just coming in and moving straight through the way of being herself. Like she is a force to be reckoned with, being herself. On top of that, she also has this particular gate. There we go, the 34th gate. This 34th gate is the gate of power. So this gate of power forces a lot of this power, this energy into the sense of self, which is about self-love and about expressing yourself, being yourself as only you can. So she is here in this lifetime to really be herself and to really love herself and to really put that out no matter what. She also has this 40th gate 3 times, I noticed. And when you have a gate twice, it's like, oh, there's a lot of energy. And when it's 3 times or 4 times sometimes, it really means the universe is paying a lot of attention. Now, the 40th gate is the gate of aloneness. Okay, so this is a particular connection that's all about the family. Not knowing her, my guess is that her life has been a lot about family. It's been a lot about having fair agreements, what she considers fair, right? Having fair agreements in life, really taking care of who she considers is part of her family, working really hard, and often feeling like life is unfair and she's treated not fairly. That is an assumption that I have about her. And that means that whenever there are other people that are, in her eyes, not treating her fairly, there's a break. There is a, I'm going to push you away because you're not willing to be with my agreements. Like, I cannot have an agreement with you because you're not showing up on your side. You're not showing up in the way that I want you to show up. Does that make sense, Chewa?
Yeah, she have very strong will.
Yep.
The whole family, everybody have to follow her own way.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
Fear. If you don't follow her way, you are her enemy.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. See, it's that 40th gate. It's the gate of aloneness, and that gate of aloneness, it can be really, like I said, it just cuts people out. It's just like that. So let's take a look briefly. When we put the two of you together, there's a lot going on, right? There's a lot going on. So the energy between the two of you is very, very strong. Very strong. Yeah. She's also very, has a very strong sense of ambition. And
I only have one word to describe her. Not only me, my another sister, and then even my mother feel. We only have one word to describe her: just selfish. She's a very selfish person.
Yeah.
But I have to say, I don't know how can you look from the design chart. She extremely nice to her friend. As long as you are her friend, she take care of. She's so nice. But as long as you become her family, she's very harsh because she married twice. I remember her second husband. After they get married 1 year, and one time I go back to Taiwan, and my her husband asked me. He said, "Why, sister? Before we get married, she's so extremely nice person. She's so nice to me. But once we get married, after the next day, and she treat me like a totally different way. She's so harsh on him, every aspect." And I feel that because before you're married, you are outside people. Once you get married, you're a family. You're a family. She treats you every family the same way.
Yeah, that's very interesting. So what comes up for me around that as I hear you speak and I'm looking at the design, and this is me looking backwards, right? Normally when I look at a design, I don't really have a story and I'll just kind of pick on the things that I see that jump out at me. In this case, I hear your story and I'm like, yeah, I can see that. So her design sun, which is the 50th gate in the 4th line. Whoops, moving my mouse right over here. So the 50th gate in the 4th line, it's over here. So The 50th gate is all about values. And values are all about how do we as the tribe, not the social big society, but how are we as a tribe, my family, my community of friends, how are we following the values of our little tribe? With the fourth line, there is a little shift in how that works. It's the how can I make the values work for me? So when you're talking about selfish, when you're talking about taking things and applying it and seeing how can I make things work for me? It's like it's corruption potentially. Now, corruption can be used to be able. She could use this as a gift, right? It's meant to be a gift for her to recognize where does my little society, my little tribe no longer follow the values? Where is the corruption? But instead, it sounds like she is owning it and taking it in herself and being the one who says, oh, I am making my internal value shift depending on who you are and what I need from you. So again, this is me working backwards, which I usually don't really like to do much of. It's more about how can I see things, how can I recognize things, and this is a place where that can come from. Does that make sense?
Yes, I agree everything you say.
Yeah. Okay. So one thing moving forward, and I do want to move on to the next chart, if we can. One thing moving forward in your relationship together is that there is potential to get into her good graces, if you would want to, by really acknowledging all that she has done for the family. Family is really very strong for her, and for her to be acknowledged and to be recognized for the amount of work that she does for family, the amount of effort that she puts in, and understanding her need for pushing people away, which have more to do with taking care of herself and feeling that her needs are not being met. Like that will take a lot from you, but that might go a long way.
But right now, I believe there's no any chance because she cut down all the contact with the.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that.
The reason I want to show this as our relationship because I just don't get it why we come to this situation. But now you explain it. I think I got it.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, good. Well, I'm glad that was helpful, at least to give you clarity in that. So thank you. Always good to see you.
Okay.
All right, Susie, you are here. I love this question. Susie, if you want, you can go ahead and unmute yourself. I know your question is about, I've been under the impression that I'm a manifestor, but my chart says I'm a generator. How does that work? I love this question because it is something that so many generators have. We live in a world that is manifestor. We live in a world that is get out of my way, the American dream, I got to get it done. This is me. And, I'm climbing to the top. We're about manifesting, right? There's so many courses around the law of attraction so that we can manifest. And the thing, in my view, as a generator, law of attraction is law of attraction. Let it come to you. So human design has a number of different types. One of those types is a manifestor. There's only actually a small percentage of people who are manifestors in this lifetime. Manifestors are here to make things happen, to move things. Most often, I don't get manifestors on the call because manifestors don't really want to just sit and get the information. They just want to go out and make things happen, right? And it's kind of in their own way. This is what I'm seeing. This is what I'm setting out to, and I'm going to make this happen. Manifestors are really great in getting their like energy aligned with that. What can be uncomfortable for a manifestor is that their aura is like this Teflon sheet that pushes things like, get out of my way. And there is a lot of resistance that can come from this because we generators, manifesting generators, projectors, reflectors, we like to know what's going on. And a manifestor doesn't really like to explain themselves because that's what it feels like. So there's a potential for a manifestor to get a lot of resistance, feel a lot of anger because of that, while all that they want to do is want to be left alone and want to be in peace. Like, just let me do my thing. So that's the manifestor energy. Generator energy is softer. It's more enveloping. The aura is warm and welcoming. So the generator, when we step into the manifestor, we're actually doing something else. If we're truly stepping into the manifesting energy, which we can, it usually doesn't go well. It feels like we're having to force and push, and it just feels icky and things are not really moving. That means that we're not using our generator energy well. Generator energy is that it brings things in automatically. Your whole way of being a generator is about recognizing which opportunity, which thing, whichever thing I'm responding to is right for me. Because when you do that, then you step into your flow. And that's what your second question is about. Like, how can I get out of my own way and get into more of a consistent state of flow? Because your design, Susie, is all about flow. You have that beautiful sacral center that is inviting all these different things to come in. When you get that sense of energy that says, oh yeah, this is right, this feels good, then you want to wait until your emotions tell you, like, yeah, this is the right thing to get into. So on the right-hand side, we have this emotional center. This is the solar plexus. And the emotional center is always sending out these waves of emotions. We're always feeling things, people who are emotionally defined. And even if you're not emotionally defined, you will still feel things, but things are less dramatic. There's less of an up and down when you are not emotionally defined. Now, in your case, your emotional center is activated with this 30th gate. This 30th gate, this whole beautiful channel that you have here, is this opportunity to see things and imagine things into being that for other people are totally not clear. Like, you can walk around a city that is fully boarded up, and you can say, oh my gosh, I can see this beautiful shopping area, and there could be, these beautiful lights everywhere and colors, and like, you can see all that. It can be really clear for you, and you can have this desire to fully jump into it. And then you want to sit with, okay, I've just had this whole experience, which was a response, right, to seeing this whole street of boarded up shops. You see the possibilities, it's a response. And then you want to sit with, wait, what is my emotion saying about this? I can have the excitement, that's great. And then you'll have the other thoughts of, I'm kind of not sure. This is where the insecurities come in. And when the insecurities happen, those are opportunities to ask yourself, okay, well, what is the question that I need to have answered so that I know what to do next? So that I've gathered enough information so I take the next step more full of confidence. Will you ever get fully confident? The emotions will always go up and down. Okay, so you may get to like 80, 85% of like, yeah, I'm clear now. This feels good. I really want to jump into getting this vision into reality. And so you have this great opportunity to manifest things in the right timing that's right for you. And then when you do, you're really here to be a leader. You're here to be a leader and be very creative in your own way. So there's a huge amount of potential in your chart to really find those opportunities that can be just beautiful things. And recognize too that, because I want to say this because of the 53rd gate, a lot of people with the 53rd gate have this thing of, I never complete anything. And your job here is not necessarily to complete things. With the 53rd gate, you will always start new things, bring new things into being, but it's not necessarily yours to fully complete. Maybe it's something that just needed to get started so someone else can take it on. Or maybe it's something that just needed to get started so it gave you another idea to move on to the next thing, etc., etc. But just recognize that when you get that gut response, you have that emotional wisdom that has answered all these questions, you are no longer experiencing anxiety. That is the right thing for you to step into. And then you'll get into this beautiful flow. And there's a huge amount of timing around this for you because you have this channel of 515 that has everything to do with timing. So it has to do with finding your own rhythms, recognizing that your rhythms may be different from, the time that other people are talking about. Go back to your gut response and recognize this. And I hope that that was helpful. So I know you're on the line. I don't know if you can unmute yourself and have anything to share, any comments about this.
Sorry, I didn't mean to keep myself muted, but I do have my children running around in the back. So I will say that your comment about me seeing a boarded up town and seeing the potential in that was absolutely spot on. In fact, I am notorious for driving around and looking at like abandoned houses and abandoned buildings, and constantly it's something that I'd like to try to do is either renovate homes or somehow start a business in an old abandoned building. So that is interesting.
Total goosebumps. Total goosebumps. Yes.
Oh.
Perfect. Yeah. Keep asking your internal questions so that you no longer have the anxieties around that. But yeah, total possible.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for addressing that. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. This was great. All right, everybody. Well, we are actually over time. I did have a couple more questions, but I so appreciate people being here and just going through these charts with me. Human design is such an amazing tool. Such an amazing tool to be able to get that clarity, to check in, okay, well, where is my biggest stuff that's potentially holding me back, and how can I move forward? Because ultimately our designs are here to give us that extra little tool so that we are able to live our life purpose. That's
Can I
why we
ask
came.
a question? Okay. Yeah, my sister sun gate is 60. 60 is the gate limitation. Can you say something about it?
There we go. Yes. So the gate of limitation is right here at the bottom. And in her case, it's connected here up to the third gate. So the gate of limitation has this ability to look at what are the resources that I need to make this potentially transformative jump. The 63 is a channel that is hugely mutative. It's a channel that is going to change her life regularly, completely, like 180-degree shift. Okay, so when you have the 60th gate, it helps you prepare to get your ducks in a row, get things in order to be able to say, okay, now I'm ready to make that jump.
Okay, and then the last question: when you combine our both chart, all the center be filled in. Is that the reason we are hard to get along or not? Because we don't have anything open and to
grow. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Okay, I would say yes and no. Okay. I'm always careful not to get into absolutes
Okay, got it.
because we all have free will and you know that is paramount. However, when you have everything filled in you as you do within a relationship, there's not a lot of growth. There's like, okay, this is how we are locked in together, right? There is only so many places where the universe can come in and make changes and help support us, whether through transits or through other people. So in other words, you're kind of locked in. And that's the thing that it doesn't provide for a lot of opportunity for growth and shifts and change. Does that make sense?
So if she don't want to change and I don't want to change, and when we get locked,
Yeah.
so it's don't move and we don't get along.
Yeah, pretty much. That's a good insight. Yeah, if you don't want to change, you're kind of stuck. That's it.
Understand?
Always go back to your gut response to check in, and then your emotional wisdom. Like, what questions might there be that you want to have a different experience around? Okay, so yeah, you are so very welcome. Again, everybody, thanks so much for being here. Super fun hanging out with you, and happy birthday to the birthday people. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Facebook. I do these weekly energy updates. And one of the things that I do is I pull 3 different charts, or 3 different cards, I should say. And you get to choose which one resonates most with you. And there's usually like a 30-second to 1-minute little video about what this particular card means for you for this week. Super fun. Hope you join me. And take care. Thanks for being here. I hope to see you again soon. Bye.